Bohemians and city speakers, this is internet personality Vangelus, and it's my legitimate, actual, thank God this came out somewhere pleasure to say I'm taking a look at Deluxe, Cyberverse Universe, Windblade from Transformers Legacy United's opening wave of releases. A Deluxe Cyberverse Windblade was a colossal gaping hole in the scarce yet prolonged series of releases for 2018's Transformers Cyberverse cartoon, a show that's got a special place in my heart for being exponentially better than I ever expected, with marked quality jumps from season to season, and a deluxe line that broke the years-long curse of Warrior Class is Good Enough that marred Robots in Disguise 2015's merchandise. And yet, despite being a major feature character, we never got a Deluxe Cyberverse Windblade. I yelled about it for literal years. So the release of this figure, clearly called out as the Cyberverse version, that put a good feeling in my ventricle meat engine.
This video was sponsored in part by ToyHacks.com. Use the code BUNNYVANGELUS through the month of April 2024 for 15% off your order of labels and other paraphernalia. Using the code supports the channel. Supporting the channel feeds the machine.
Okay, yes, so, the Cyberverse version of Windblade does just kinda look like a Windblade type to most average onlookers. She's got boots, and hey, maybe that's part of the reason why I'm enjoying this figure so much. Windblade without spike heels is exponentially more to my tastes in multiple fields of aesthetics and physical balance. This rendition does have a meaty backpack, but it's a meaty, compact backpack. Important adverb. In general, Legacy United Windblade's silhouette is hell of attuned to my frequencies. She's a little lean, a little armored, and a lot of wing-packed. She's got a fairly basic color layout, thankfully boosted by some extremely strong blue paint apps in precisely 5 places from the neck down. A lot of color work went into her head sculpt, which is incredibly crisp on my copy of the figure. We still don't have physical Windblades who properly call back to Saren Stone and Sarah Petra Durocher's works, as this Cyberverse version has more in common with the stoicism-touting original, but there's always time for me to build more soapboxes. Windblade's weapon accessory is her Stormfall sword, which has been rendered with a swooshy and fiery translucent purple blade, and it's my least favorite part of this entire figure. The sword itself is cool in the context of its role, especially with the way that it can peg onto her hips for storage, but I spent months thinking that this was a swappable blade effect, not the only blade effect. Give me a blade-shaped blade any day of the week. Windblade's other accessory is her golden fan, which is absolutely easy to lose while opening the toy's packaging. It tabs onto the back of her head, but if you remove it, its lower dimensions allow it to wedge into a 5mm grip space. But the real secret is the fact that it can also wedge directly into a semi-secret slot carved into each of Windblade's palms. This is the most attention her head fan has ever gotten across multiple medias, so it puts a smile on my face even if it's a little extra. Like, it's a golden fan attached to the back of her head, you gotta accept a bit of extra. The ball socket neck on Windblade is so almost friggin' excellent. It's so close to tip-top. Look at how high she can look up. Look at how much she can kinda waggle her head. But when you turn her head from left to right, her chin smacks right into the collar unless you tilt her head up, then it's fine. So when looking left and right, she's kinda gotta look a little bit up at the same time, and that can be annoying depending on your own head-turning proclivities. Her shoulders have T-pose power, all aplenty, especially when you're flying. This is very important. And they can rotate as a shoulder does with an elbow bend that only goes about 90 degrees if you're generous, and a bicep swivel. I really wish this had been a tighter elbow bend, as given her sword and everything and the head fan, she could have used a tighter elbow curl, but she does have wrist swivels and a waist swivel, and then really importantly, her wings can do a lot. They can flap a bit, and then they can move on this, transformation joint, but then you can even move them up to here, right? See that little circle? So there's a nub. Locks in there, but you can move it past that too if you want them up even more. So there are some wing posing options. You can even manipulate these things. You can have the unpainted side facing forward if you're a total friggin' freak. Her legs can kick forwards just enough, they can go backwards just enough. Spinning bird kick ahoy when you're a VTOL, that's like topical or something. There's a thigh swivel that does its job, a knee bend that goes 90, much like the elbows. Kind of wish this had been somehow tighter, a curl, but it's functional. And then her ankles can tilt way the hell in. You'll see a lot of hingery here, but she can point her toe down for flight poses, but there ain't really a lot going on here that is like super solid. You're mostly just interacting with that. Very basically posable, and because of the whole thing with the neck, she always looks really dynamic. Legacy United Windblade opens up with the big guns when she converts, as her backpack explodes and reforms over her head to unleash the front chunk of her alt mode. The Transformers teams have gotten into such a groove with explosive nose cone to cockpit compression since Kingdom Cyclonus, and this delivers similar notes on a Deluxe class scale. After that, the other major motion is a variation on the old Combiner Wars Deluxe leg compression, and while that may have gotten old for some, it still puts a contented grin on my face. And Windblade adds a couple of extra red panels to help de-robotify the underside of the rear of the jet. Also, while her arms still kinda just hang out under there, on Legacy United Windblade, I really appreciate the fitted handholds to at least provide some purpose to the ambulatory undercarriage visible beneath the wings. It gives me tactile satisfaction, at least. If you ignore the robot arms hanging out along the sides, this is a solid jet mode. Is that a loaded sentence? Yes, but those forearms can actually swivel their respective fins around a bit, and that seems aerodynamic, so I think it's an overall gain. And I think she manages to achieve one of the cleaner Deluxe Transformers jet modes I've seen in the last few years. As Windblades tend to allow, you can rotate her VTOL fans around for in-flight posing options, and if you want to make some use of that weird sword blade effect sculpt, you can sandwich the handle between a pair of peg holes in the rear, creating a sort of blazing purple fart behind her flight path. You can also peg the sword in along the bottom using the 3mm stand compatible hole, though that still leaves some purple flame blade trail sticking out the back, now kind of underneath. I don't know, you might think it looks cool? Go for it. I'll say it up front, this is my favorite Deluxe of Legacy United's first wave, and those are some fun Deluxes. Aside from satisfying a multi-year soapbox, this is also a Windblade who stands above the other Windblades for my personal taste. She hits a lot of strong notes with the fit and finish I'd want from a Generations Deluxe, eking her way past Titan's Return Windblade as my new city speaker of city speakers. It probably helps a lot that I actively enjoy her bot mode backpack for its conversion process and mass squishing mathematics. Anyway, this has been Internet Personality Vangelus, and it's thanks to all my patrons and members that I was able to snag the entire Legacy United Deluxe Wave 1 when it showed up at my local EB GameStops. Still waiting on that Voyager animated Optimus, though. We love a pre-ordered piece getting pushed back to April. Months away. Wait, it's March already? I went to TFCon LA? Oh god, the time ghost, come back. Come back!